Today, we're going to be doing a full body dumbbell workout. We're going to be starting with doing upper body exercises for the arms, chest, and back, and then moving into some lower body exercises at the end. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that like button for me. It lets me know you want more of this type of content, and it helps support the channel. So thank you for that. So we're going to start up with a warm-up for the arms. So to do that, I'm going to grab a lighter dumbbell. So I like doing what's called a specific warm-up rather than a general warm-up. And that means we're going to be doing the same movement patterns we'd be doing with a heavier dumbbell, starting with a lighter dumbbell to get blood flow into the muscle. So the first thing we're going to do is a vertical press. This works the muscles in the back of your arm, in the tricep, and then the top of your shoulder, so the traps and deltoid muscle. So it's a compound exercise where we're using more than one muscle group at a time. So for this, starting with some lighter dumbbells, you're going to bring the dumbbell to the outside of your shoulder. So I don't want it narrow, I want to try and go a little bit wider. That will really lengthen those traps by keeping the shoulders completely lengthened. So we want that length at the bottom in the traps. From here, I'm going to push up towards the ceiling, keeping my hands in front of my chin. So I'm not dropping the hands back behind my neck, keeping them here, pushing straight up and then back down. Now, I don't want to let the dumbbells come together and clack together. I want to keep them right over the top of my shoulders. Doing about 10 of these, just getting blood flow into the muscle. This is a warm-up for the shoulders. You don't want to go into a heavy exercise cold. We're priming the body. It's sort of like when you start your car when it's really cold out. It takes a little bit of time for it to heat up and get going. Same thing with your body. We don't want to go in cold. We want to give your body a gradual warm up into the full exercise. Actually opens up capillaries and blood vessels to those muscles, to the joints and connective tissues, and gets everything ready to go. So we're starting out with a pair of exercises. One is the overhead press or vertical press. The other is going to be a preacher curl for the muscles in the front of the arm, in that bicep. So the biceps brachii, brachialis, a little bit of the forearm as well. So for this, you're either going to need a bench like I have, but if you don't have a bench, you could do this with a chair, just something with a pad on the top, or you could put a towel over the top just to give a little bit of padding for your elbow. So for this, we're going to do, it's called a preacher curl. So I'm going to put my elbow on the top of the chair or bench, and then from here, I'm going to straighten my arm out, trying to straighten it all the way out where it's completely flat, and then back up. So you want a chair that's pretty tall backed. Computer chair would work just fine, or a dining room chair. Both of those will work as long as it's not digging into your elbow. So this is working those upper arm muscles. And again, doing about 10 of these, just getting blood flow into the muscle. If you put your hand here, you should feel that bicep tensing up. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit down. That's the nice thing about the adjustable bench, is I'm just a little bit high, so it's digging into my elbow. I'm going to drop it down just a tad bit. There we go. It's just a place for your elbow to rest against, so your elbow doesn't move. So we're supporting that elbow, and that means that it's entirely moving from the elbow and arm rather than the shoulder up here. So locking my elbow means that it's all from that elbow flexion movement. Same thing on the other side. Now I'm not letting my wrist collapse. I'm trying to keep my wrist relatively straight. Going here, down and tap, and then back up. Hey, B2, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, doing preacher curls, starting out with a warm-up. So we're gonna start with arms, then move into chest, back, and then finish off with legs. Been really enjoying these preacher curls. I don't know why I didn't start them sooner. I've done them in the past, and I've really been finding that I feel like I get a very good workout in the bicep and or the muscles in my upper arm, in that brachialis, that bicep. And I'm also able to recover pretty quickly from it. So I find these are really effective exercise that I've just started in the last month. So if you're finding that it's hard to grow, I tried this exercise. It's feeling really good for that. A lot of times all of us are a little bit different of where our muscles are attaching. So sometimes some exercises can be more effective than others, depending on things like how long is your arm, how long is, where the muscle attaches exactly on the bone, because it roughly attaches the same spot, but the small angle changes can make a difference. That's why I don't think there's one exercise that's the literal best. I think that there are a lot of good exercises for a variety of things. So we're going to go back to a vertical press, or for this though, I'm adding weight to the dumbbells. Now I'm going a little heavier. So I want to go to where I can do about 10 reps. That's 10 times up and down before I start to feel tired. So I should feel that burning sensation at about 10 reps. So I'm starting from the outside of my shoulders. I'm pushing my chest up so my back's straight, pressing straight up towards the ceiling. I like this one because it works the upper shoulder and traps deltoid, as well as doing that tricep muscle where I'm bending my elbow, pushing all the way up to straight. It's important, bend all the way down. You don't want to come down here and then back up where you're doing a partial range. You want to go all the way down, tap the shoulder, and then back up. Now I've gotten to 10, but I feel like I could do a few more. So I'm going to try and go until I'm just about spent. So B2 asked, Greg, did you ever have abs? Like probably in your prime. So that's a good question. I actually only ever had abs once. And funny enough, I would not recommend it for this. I had the flu for a week and I was coughing so much and I lost so much weight, and just with saving you the details, let's just say I was coughing a lot and not feeling very well. And I was coughing so much, I actually got a 6-pack during that time because I lost weight as well as I was just constantly working my abs by coughing. And that's the time I had a 6-pack. For me, just genetically, I tend to store some fat here. So even when I've gotten very low weight, when I was at 172 pounds, I still didn't have a 6-pack. I'm going to continue to try to get one, but depending on your genetics, some people aren't able to get a six-pack, some people are, it's not an indicator of lower fitness if you don't. You want to monitor things like what's your body fat percentage, and sometimes there's no amount of sit-ups that will get you that. Sit-ups will build up the muscle, but the only way to lose fat here is by decreasing your overall calorie intake to lose fat everywhere. But for some people, there's just some fat that's harder to lose. For some people, it's the fat in their legs. I store almost no fat in my legs. It's all sort of right here in the love handles area. So I have had a six-pack, but it was only one time, and I don't know if I could replicate that. I'm going to try, but not by getting sick again. So right now, I'm actually, this year, my goal is to do 2 weeks or 2 months of weight loss and then 2 months of muscle building. So right now I'm doing muscle building. So during the weight loss, I'm trying to lose about 8 pounds in 2 months. And then during the muscle building, I'm trying to gain 4 pounds. So the math on that is I'm trying to, over time, cut down on weight a little bit to see if I can get to a point where I have a six-pack again. So I'm in my late 30s, and I'm going to see if I can try and get a six-pack, because I got there once. It was difficult. It was not a normal way people get there, and I'm not sure if it's maintainable, but I will try. Oh. Is it possible to build muscle while also being active as an athlete because we burn so much? If so, I believe that taking supplements would be necessary at some point. Would that be true? So, is it possible to build muscle while being active as an athlete? Yes, it is possible to build muscle even during a weight loss period. You can build some muscle, as long as you're not going so much weight loss that your body, I believe the number is a 60% caloric amount, so 40% deficit, your body starts shutting down muscle production. It might not be 60, it might be a little higher than that, but there is a number where your body will turn off that muscle production. Now, you will probably build muscle faster when you have extra calories around. But if you're being active, your body will prioritize maintaining and building that muscle that you're using in that activity. Supplements for protein, especially like a whey protein supplement, is really helpful for hitting your protein needs to have a surplus of amino acids for rebuilding muscle. So your body needs amino acids to build that muscle, and the only way to get that is by eating protein. So if you are not getting enough protein, means there's not enough amino acids to go around, and those are used in a lot of things like cell production, your immune system. Your body needs those to repair itself. So if there's not enough to go around, it can be a really good idea to supplement protein and use something like a protein powder or protein shake. So if that's you, I use protein powder. That's one of the supplements I take. Oh. So I use Now Sports protein powder. They're not a sponsor in any way, but I do like their stuff, and I found it's really effective and cost effective for getting protein in. So chronic Hey, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. I'm a model. Would you say it's fine to build some muscle even though I'm supposed to mostly stay thin and lean? So muscle is more dense than fat. So usually it's more effective to have a higher amount of muscle and that will help you keep a very lean look. I would say that you're probably fine to build muscle. You might not want to do really high sets and high volume if you find you're bulking up too much. So the great thing about working out is it's a gradual process. So it's building over time. So if you ever get to be where you're feeling like, man, you can always just slow it down. Do a few less sets in a week, and you can still maintain the muscle health, muscle strength, without having excessive growth. Usually that's not what people are looking for. They're usually looking for more growth rather than less. So if you're in that situation where you're concerned about over bulking, you can just take it gradual and slow, and then once you reach the point you want to, you can just do maintenance work where you're doing a couple sets in a week. It's an interesting question though. Usually though, even models working out, it's unlikely that you're going to overbulk quickly to a place you don't want to be. Usually working muscles helps manage your body's fat loss. So as we work muscles, the calories we lose are from fat more than muscle, and that tends to be a more slimming look. So a lot of people don't know that as they diet. If they're not working the muscles, doing resistance training, your body will deprioritize that muscle and hang on to the fat more. So we lose more muscle in that weight loss, and that tends to still leave people looking a little like they have a little bit of fat on their skeleton, as opposed to looking athletic and trim. That's why when I'm doing a weight loss phase, I'm really prioritizing resistance training and making sure I incorporate that in, so I'm keeping the muscle that I have built up over time. So right now I'm trying to actually gain weight, so I'm gaining some muscle and some fat, but I'm trying to prioritize that muscle gain by doing resistance training so the nutrients go into the muscle. When we work out, it actually increases. Hey, Chronic, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. It's an interesting question. It's interesting too, some people do a lot of sit-ups and it actually increases the muscle size in their stomach, so it makes them look bulkier in their torso. So sometimes, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing modeling, you might want to prioritize different muscles to make sure that you don't overbulk in particular areas. So not overworking a particular muscle. What sort of modeling do you do? Also, if you're doing hand modeling, which I know some people are, doing things like dumbbells where it's a knurled handle, where it's got these little, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, it's got these little diamond shaped things for the metal for grip, but that can really be hard on your hands. So if you're doing any sort of hand modeling, that's something to be aware of. It's going to give your hands calluses and probably be harder on your job. So you might want to do something more with bands or padded handles, or possibly body weight and calisthenics. I would still include resistance training in what you do though, because it's so important to maintain that muscle health. As we age, if we don't use our muscle, we lose it. Average person in their 30s or 40s, I believe the number is above 35, we lose about 1% of our total muscle every year on average. And so that's why I think it's so important to maintain muscle by using it. If we maintain it, if we're using it, we don't lose it as fast. Or we could even build up muscle. So the goal is to keep the muscle we have and keep it strong and healthy. They've done studies of people even in their 90s that were able to get back strength and muscle strength and muscle size. But it's so much easier if you start younger and just keep it rather than trying to get it back later on when you need it. So we've got one more set of vertical press. Going here, starting with your hands right over the top of the shoulders and pressing up towards the ceiling, keeping those hands wide. Going all the way up, all the way down to full range of motion. I'm trying to not bounce out of the bottom, so I'm going down, hold for a moment, and then back up. And that means I'm not using my muscle like a rubber band. Using the muscle like that is a much more risky maneuver. It's more likely you could injure it because the forces are really high. It's very, what's called plyometric, is more risky, especially at high weights. And relax. So, might feel a little bit easier to do it that way, where it bounces out of the bottom, but you're putting all that pressure on the connective tissues in the muscle and tendon and using it like a springboard. So sometimes that can cause those structures to give out and cause tearing, cause problems and pain down the road that actually slow you down in the long run. So that's why we want to be controlled, we want to be safe, and we want to be healthy for years to come. So no shoulder injuries, no problems. Excuse me. I find for people wanting to be a particular physique, so the resistance training is very good for prioritizing maintaining muscle. Would always recommend resistance training. But for calories and diet is a big part of that, of what your physique looks like. So for me, what I found is trying to lose about 500 calories per day when I'm on a weight loss phase is a good number, where I'm losing about a pound a week. And when I'm trying to build muscle, I'm trying to gain about half of that. So about 250 calories per day maximum. And that is in clean bulking, where I'm just eating some extra food, extra fruits and vegetables, and maybe a little bit more whole grain like oatmeal. Started to do that in the mornings where I have 2 cups of oatmeal while I'm bulking to really add calories that stick with me. So it's not a lot of calories extra. And that way I'm not gaining a ton of extra weight that I have to lose later. But those extra calories really help give the body a surplus to then build more muscle with. So it's less likely that you'll build as much muscle when you're in a calorie deficit. And it's just honestly psychologically harder to lift the same weights. I find the biggest thing is I am sore for longer in muscles when I'm on a calorie deficit. I don't recover as quickly, so it might be an extra day of recovery between workouts. So that was our arm exercises. We're going to move on to some chest and back exercises. So working the pecs along with some of the tricep, but mostly the pecs, and then working the upper back and lats. So those are our 2 exercises we're going to go into now. So for this, I really like using a bench, but you could do this laying on your back on the ground as well. But if you have a bench, I would definitely use a bench. So for this one, we're going to do a chest press or a dumbbell bench press. So laying on your back, I use my knees to help push the dumbbells into position. I'm going to pull my shoulder blades together to give myself a strong foundation for this movement. So I'm pushing my chest out, shoulder blades back and down. From here, I'm going to bend my elbows. So I'm going wide. I'm not bringing the dumbbells together, keeping my hands wide, going all the way down as low as I can, and then back up. Now on this one, I could even tap the inside of my chest with the dumbbells. If you're doing this laying on the ground, you can only go down as low as your elbows can go before they touch the ground. That's okay. But if you are able to, doing a bench lets you go deeper into that movement so you get more of that chest stretch. And that's what's going to create higher tension in the muscle and cause more hypertrophy or muscle growth. Warming up with the 30 pounds. Doing about 10 reps of those. Then going into an upright row. Now on the row, it's important, I want to keep my back straight. So what I'm going to do for that is push my hips to the back. So I'm not bending forward, I'm pushing my hips out. And that's going to help me row effectively. So I'm not putting any pressure on my low back. If you feel it in your low back, you can always sort of lean against a wall or a post and then bend and then push your hips out to the back into that post. So I'm not rounding my back down, keeping that back straight, and I'm going to do a row that way. So if I'm here, pushing my hips back, might need to adjust the distance so you're sort of leaning against that post, letting the arms hang straight down. From here, you're going to pull up to your rib cage and then back down. Working the muscles in the upper back. I'm looking up to keep my back straight. And relax. Doing about 10 of those, just get blood flow into the muscle. So if you're just joining us, we're doing a full body workout, starting with upper body, working to lower body. So we'll finish up with lower body. I think it's so important to incorporate resistance training into your day. Glad you guys are here with me. I'm proud of you for making this a part of your day and keeping strong, healthy muscles. That is awesome. That's the whole goal here. I want to help equip people to do that. If you have any questions, let me know. Anything that's getting in your way, I'd love to help you get through that. So, I've already had some great questions. I'm so thankful for you guys asking what's going on in your life, because I know that's always been that I find is the thing that gets in the way for people is uncertainty or doubt. They think, oh, am I really growing? Because you're so used to seeing your body, it's hard to see the changes that are happening, that how much you've changed year to year or month to month doing this. And so if I can help in any way with that uncertainty, it's what I'm here for. Because it does make a difference and you are gonna get stronger. So going back to our bench press or chest press, dumbbells right over the top of your shoulders, pinch those shoulder blades together to push the chest out. And from here, dropping down, tap the chest, back up. And relax. And I am here to say that you can do this. You will get through it. The hardest thing is starting. And if you are just starting today, I am proud of you. You've taken the first step, and it's hardest to start. So you've done everything. You've gotten through the hardest part. So good job, congratulations. I'm here to help encourage and support you in any way I can. So, if you're just starting out, welcome. I'm here for any questions. It is worth it, and you are worth putting the effort into of getting healthy, getting strong, building up your muscle and joint health, and you will feel better doing it, and trust me. So, going into our upright row. Now, if there's any pain in your low back, then don't try and lighten the weights, and then try again. But you could also use a wall to help support your low back. The whole thing is we want the shoulders to be working in this movement. Oh. truth is, working out is difficult a little bit, but the more we do it, the more we increase that capacity of your body, and what was hard gets easier. If you think about riding a bike, the first time you rode a bike, it was probably pretty difficult to stay balanced. You felt really wobbly and it was hard. But after you did it for a few months, suddenly you probably don't even need to think about riding your bike anymore. Same thing with working out. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize that the mic had turned off. So hopefully this works just fine. And so I don't know how long my mic's not been working. We're gonna keep on going. I'm just letting my heart rate come back down a little bit between sets. So we're going for one more set of chest press. Sorry, we were in rows. We're gonna do another set of rows and then one more set of chest press. Actually, we're at 40 minutes. We'll finish. This is our last set of rows, then we'll go to some lower body exercises. Make sure we get those in today. So, pushing the hips back, you can have a wall behind you to help support. Letting the arms hang down, and then pulling up to your chest. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And relax. So the last exercise is going to be a split squat, and this is great for the legs. So I'm going to be using a bench, but you could also do this in a chair. So what you're going to do to set up is sit down on bench or chair, put one leg out straight. This is the leg we're going to be working. So from here, that gets you the right distance away from the bench. You're going to step forward without moving your foot. Put your other foot up on top of the chair or bench. This is just your pivot leg. So all of your weight is here on your front leg, working those quads and thigh muscles. So from here, keeping your knee in line with your toe, that protects your knee. You're going to bend down and then back up. You can have something for support, for balance. It's totally fine, but all of your weight is on this front leg. You feel it working here in the top of your thigh. Try to do 10 each side. And then same thing on the other side. I'm going to sit down on the bench, put one leg out, step forward without moving that foot, other foot on top of the bench, and bending the knee down, trying to bend the knee as much as I can to really emphasize those quads, those muscles in the front of the thigh. One more, and that is the split squat. So we're going to do 2 sets of those. So if you're able to, trying to do 2 times, doing 10 each leg. So take a moment and let your heart rate come back down. The legs are very large muscles, so they pull a lot of blood and require a lot of oxygen to keep going. So if you're checking your heart rate, it will probably be a bit elevated on those. Right now mine's about 155. I'm gonna let it drop to about 130 before I go again. Because I don't want heat and fatigue to limit how much my muscles can do. So it's much more about temperature control for this. So I'm gonna have some cool water. That is the biggest thing for me, and I know a lot of people, is overheating during a workout. So that's the easiest way to shut down your workout, is to overheat. If you are in that situation, you can put cool water on your hands or on your feet especially. It will help cool you off. I know for me, there was one time I was working with a client. It's a very hot day, and someone else working that day noticed that I was actually overheating working with that client where I had gone from heat exhaustion beyond that actually to where I was starting to turn beet red because I hadn't had enough water. It sneaks up on you. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. You don't realize that it's happening to you, so it's important to stay hydrated, keep your body cool. So part of that is staying hydrated, part of that is just making sure you're not going so continually in high temperature environments. If it's a hot day, hot gym, make sure you're cooling your body down. So sometimes that can be standing under a fan or running cool water over your hands. Whatever it takes so you're keeping your body in not overheating. So I wouldn't want that for anybody. Heart rate's still 140, so I'm going to give just a few more seconds to let it calm down. So there was a study done for doing pull-ups, and between the pull-up sets, they had some people hold on to a pipe with running water cooling off their hands. This is a metal pipe that cooled off their hands with cool running water. And then the other group, they just sat there normally. They found the people that used the cool running water were able to do more pull-ups because they were able to dissipate more heat, where the muscle was able to work more. Now you might think that was, oh, well, maybe just that group was stronger. Turns it was normalized across a very large group of people. So just found that the group that had the cooling, on average, were doing a significant number more pull-ups. So heat is probably the number one killer of a workout. Now you don't want to be cold, but once you start working out, the chances of being cold are pretty slim. Your body heats up, generates a lot of its own heat, and the chances of overheating are much higher. All right, so now we're gonna do one more set of split squats. So leg out to the front straight, stepping forward, putting the other foot up on top of the bench, and then bending down slow as you can, trying to bend that knee. So I'm not trying to hinge forward at the hips, I'm trying to really bend that knee. So go up and down. So I'm working those quad muscles, keeping healthy hips and knees. Doing those deep knee bends. And same thing on the other side. Just to balance it out, I like this because it's keeping the legs even. Doing it one leg at a time means that your weaker side can't rely on your stronger side to work. So it strengthens your body evenly. It's called unilateral exercises, or one-sided exercises. Nine. Last one should be burning in your thigh. And 10. All right, so that was our workout for today. If you like these sort of workouts and want to see more, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So stay happy, healthy, and hope to see you guys there.